Okay guys, so now I'm doing a video on how to clean your chain, or at least how I do it. There are a bunch of different ways to do it, but this is personally how I do it. First, obviously, you're going to want to try to get your bike up on a rear stand. This is going to make cleaning the chain a ton easier because you're going to be able to roll the wheel and the chain will move with it. So that's going to be my recommendation, is to get a rear stand and use that. So what I do is I get a bucket, and this had some old kerosene in it, but I'm going to put some fresh in there here in a second. So what I do is I put kerosene in the bucket, and then I've got one of these that I just picked up at Walmart. It's in the cleaning section, and it works out really good, and I'll show you how I use that here in a second. But yeah, it works out really good. So I'm going to put some kerosene out of that into that, and then use that to clean that, which is kind of dark, so I'll try to fix that too. But yeah, so I'm going to set the camera down here for a second and get some kerosene in the bucket, hopefully without spilling everything everywhere. And that should do. So this is just an old bucket that I found for free, and what I do is I try to get enough in there to where there's a little puddle at the bottom, so I can take this brush and get in there and shake it around and get the kerosene on the bristles, and then I tap it out on the side so you don't have a crazy amount going everywhere when you're cleaning your chain. So here's what I do. I take this brush, and I always start out on the top, and with the brush sitting on the top, I rotate the wheel so that the brush, it doesn't matter which way you rotate the wheel, so that the brush, and I keep the brush in one stationary spot so that it's cleaning the entire top of the chain. When I'm done with that, I go to the front side. I do the same thing, and I keep moving and keep moving and keep moving and cleaning it, and then I go to the back side, keep doing that. And that pretty much cleans up the chain pretty well. A lot of guys will say, well, you need to do the top. Well, as you're moving the chain, these rollers are going to move inside of the chain, so I'm not too worried about it. So that's what I do, is I turn the wheel pretty fast, and I clean up the chain. So I'm going to do that here real quick because I can't hold the camera, and I didn't bring my tripod with me to... Actually, you know what? Let me try to find something to prop this up on, and then I might be back. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to give this a shot. I'm kind of straddling a bucket to hold this, but I'm kind of give you an idea of how I do it. So like I said, I just kind of hold it in one spot, spin the wheel quickly, and then take it off again. You can kind of see the grime on it. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it in the buckets, move it around in the liquid, tap it off on the side again like I showed you, and go back at the top again. Okay, so that's probably good for the top. Now I'm going to do the front side. Let me get on the other side of this bucket here, get the camera positioned correctly, and then do the front side. And then wipe it off again, do the front side one more time. Okay, now for the back side. I just literally put it right there, go at it. Go over the top again. And that's that. So you can see it's gotten a ton better. It's awesome. So I put the brush away. What I'm going to do is grab a older shop towel that I don't mind getting dirty. One thing to keep in mind too is that you're going to have the fluid running down this way, whatever you're using to clean. So just be prepared to kind of like soak it up. Most of this is water because I just did get done cleaning my bike. So I always clean my chain when I'm done cleaning my bike. So now let's see if I can get this on the lower side of the chain. Basically, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the rag here on the lower side of the chain, as you can see here. So I go down here, and then I literally grip the chain on the top portion, and then I spin the wheel again. And this is going to allow the rag to soak up all the excess fluid and also clean the chain at the same time. So I grip it top and bottom with my fingers. I kind of pinch it like this, and then this is what you get. And then when I'm done with that, I grip it side to side. So I pinch it like this, or like a camera. So I go under here and I'll grip it like this with the rag and do the same process. Let's see if I can actually prop this camera up to where you can actually see it. Well, that might be as good as it's gonna get. So again, like I said, I take my hand, go up under here, and grip it side to side. Clean it off this way. And grip it again, top and bottom. And you can see it's getting better. So, yeah. And then, obviously, like I said, you got to keep in mind that fluid is going to run down this way on the chain guide for whatever you're using. Most of this, like I said, is water because I just cleaned my bike, so this chain has got some water in it. You can see the adjustment's probably right on. But so what I'm going to do is continue to do that process, grabbing the chain on the lower portion and spinning the wheel until I feel satisfied in the cleanliness of the actual rag itself. And then when I'm done, I'll show you what's next. Okay, so I'm back. The next step is a very controversial one, and I've had guys comment on different videos say, no, you shouldn't do that, don't use that product, it's not going to work, you're going to ruin your chain. I use WD-40 to lube my chain. WD-40 stands for water displacement in Formula 40. While I understand it's not a grease like most chain lubes are, that heavy, thick, white grease, it does have do have lubricating oils in it, which condition the X-rings in this chain. I have had many chains on my bikes, and this is all I've ever ran. And to be honest with you, chain life has more to do with the adjustment, if it's adjusted right, if the tension on it is correct and the alignment's right. I do this, I clean my chain pretty much every time before I go out. Well, no, I'll take that back. Maybe once or twice a week. And I've had chains last me 10,000 miles, and I could have had more out of it, but I run aluminum rear sprockets, and because when these wear, you're going to want to replace the front and rear sprocket in the chain anyway, so I can't really tell you on a steel sprocket how much life I would have got out of it. So I recommend this to anybody because it's cheap, it's easy, it doesn't fling everywhere, you're not going to get the white grease all over everything, and it's quick. Like I said, it's quick and easy, and it's cheap. So let me get into it now. So basically what I do, first, make sure it sprays. I find the Master Link, which is right here, right now, and I'm going to bring it up underneath the swing arm divide, which is right here now. And then I'm going to put this tube, move the kickstand out of the way, I'm going to move this tube and put it in the link just in front of it. Now I use the Master Link so that I know where I'm at as I'm rotating the chain as far as lubing it goes, so I'm not over going crazy on it and I'm not doing too little. So I follow this Master Link. So with one hand I hold the can and I put it on the outside O-rings, and then I will move the chain once I get it going, and I like spray it lightly. So I'll move the chain like this, and I'm doing this with the wrong hand. I always do it with my right. So let me go back and do this over. Then I have better control with my right hand. Okay, so I lightly spray it. Now it's a little much, but I lightly spray it just like this. And I run it along the outside O-rings until that master link will come around again. And because it's not spraying like it should, I'll probably go over it one more time. So there, it came back around again. So now I'm going to run it on the middle portion of the chain. There it is. And then I'm going to run it on the outside O-rings of the chain. And then once that's done. Okay, so now that's done. Now I leave it sit for a second to let it kind of soak in and move the water around. Again, keep in mind that you're going to have to kind of clean it up as it goes. So then what I do is I grab another rag and a clean portion, well, a decently clean portion of a shop rag, and I'm going to grip the chain just like I did when I was using the kerosene on the upper and lower portion of the chain, just like this. Get all the excess WD-40 out of there. Then I'm going to grip it side to side as well. Spin the wheel. Get the top and bottom again. Okay. And then once I feel confident that I've got most of the excess, and the chain or the rag's starting to look pretty good too. You're not going to get it perfect. I stop once I get all the excess off. And then take another one, wipe down the swing arm, get all that excess WD-40, kerosene, everything off. Clean up the chain guide. Up here, the top one that goes this way, clean that up as much as I can. Clean up the lower. And then I clean this area, and then in this area too, because that's where a lot of grime likes to collect. Along with that, where the chain goes in through here, this bottom portion, you can kind of see it running down the frame there. Grime likes to build up in that area, so I get my fingers in there and clean everything out. And then the next portion of cleaning the chain, what I do is I clean off the sprockets as well. Let's see if I can get... Okay, so you can see the sprocket teeth here. This is the area that I use to clean up the sprocket. So what I do is I take a clean portion of the rag and I place my thumb right there and I spin it in a clockwise fashion. And I hold it against the side of the teeth and you can kind of see what it's picking up there. So I do this, clean up the sides, do it a couple times. Okay, that's better. And then I find another clean portion and I do the back side. Same idea, but I go in a counterclockwise fashion on the back side. And I'll get you a better shot of what I'm doing here in a second once I finish. Okay, so clean up the back side of the sprocket. So let me hold the camera here. So here's the area I was in. And what I was doing, I was holding this rag with my thumb like this, pushing up against the side of the sprocket. Camera focus. Come on, babe. Come on. Well, whatever. So I roll here and then I spin the wheel and I clean off the sides of the teeth, front and back. And then I get in on it and I go actually inside of the teeth. I always use, because most of the sprockets have some kind of lettering, some kind of marking on it, so I'm going to use the tooth count here as my starting point. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my finger sideways like this, so it would be like this, and clean out with the rag the gum on the actual teeth itself. So do this, and like I said, I use that 47 point as a a marker so I know where to stop, so I'm not actually having to count. I can just go and be done with it once I get back to the 47. So I'm gonna do this. Almost there. Alright, so there's my 47. There's the end. Now I'm going to do that same process to the front. So I'm going to move this bucket that the camera's sitting on, sorry if that's really loud. Same process to the front. I'm going to take the back wheel, I'm going to hold my thumb against it, I'm going to spin it, clean off the front face of it. I'm going to clean off. The front sprocket's going to be hard to get to the back, so I'm just going to clean off the inside of the teeth, and I'm starting at the 520 mark, and I'll just go around. This is a 16 tooth, so it won't take me nearly as long, and I kind of push the sprocket with my finger like that. Get in there and clean it. Okay, so that's basically how you clean the chain and the sprockets. When I'm done, I go over the sprockets with a clean towel, and I get up all the excess off, make them look nice, especially with the rear and the way the driven sprockets are. It's got all these little holes, so I go through and I find another starting point, which I'm just going to use a driven logo there as my starting point, and I clean off the face, I clean inside of the holes, I go around the sprocket nuts just like this, around the sprocket nut, down the hole again. Then I rotate the wheel, clean around the sprocket, make sure I get everything off. And go around it again. And there you go. And then I kind of just make sure I get all the grease or all the WD-40 and kerosene and stuff off the sprockets, and you're good. And then I clean off the wheel, because typically when you're using the kerosene, it's going to fling a little bit, so I clean off the wheel, or the rim rather, just like this. And then I can get in here and clean out these little gaps there and there and there, and I can get in here on this lower portion right in here and clean all that out as well. That's pretty much it when it comes to cleaning your chain. It doesn't take a long time, and I recommend doing it if you're going to use the WD-40 once or twice a week, depending. If you get in any rain or whatever, I would come home and clean it up. A lot of guys will say don't use WD-40, it doesn't work. Well, I don't think they've ever used it and they haven't done much research into it, and as soon as you start pointing out the facts and other people have used it and whatnot, it's worth looking into and trying yourself. Another thing that I do is I start up the bike when I'm done, and I put it in gear while it's on the stand, and I bring it up to like 20 miles an hour, and I let the chain run, and at that point it's gonna fling off all the excess WD-40 as well. And then you can kind of clean it up. The main areas it's going to fling it is going to be here, and then down in here, down in here, which I clean all this out anyway with my rag when I'm done cleaning my chain, to get all the grime and whatnot, because I don't run a front sprocket cover. So I get in here and I clean it out and make sure it's clean. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. But that's pretty much the process of cleaning up your chain and making it look nice. Yeah, thanks guys.